Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 423. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Hello. Happy middle of the week / end of the week. I know I like your ideology where if you're listening to this on Thursday, that's basically the weekend because Friday doesn't even really count. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows you're not really working.
Look, if there's been one thing of the life of this podcast that I have truly tried to adopt into my life, it's the way of thinking that Thursday is basically Friday, which means it's basically the end of the week.
There you go.
That is the key to having 3-day weekends every week.
Die on that hill, my friend. Die
gladly.
Yeah. And if you're listening on Friday, hello, it's a bonus.
I mean, a little late to the party, but I mean, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're listening. Speaking of being glad we're here, we're glad Jackson Holliday is here. It is the Jackson Holliday era officially. Hate to rain on the parade a little bit, but the Sox didn't really
care that much.
They didn't really care. They said, "Oh, this Jackson Holliday kid's coming up. Would be a shame if he went 0 for 3 to start the game." We're currently recording during the Sox-O's game as we speak, so it's possible maybe he gets another AB. In fact, I think at this point it's most definitely possible. So we'll get to that when it arrives. But as of right now, 0 for 3. He's got an RBI to his name, but a rather uneventful debut. But not to take away from the excitement that Orioles fans have been experiencing for the last 24 hours, man. It has been quite a whirlwind. And I say Orioles fans, really baseball fans in general. I think this has been one of the most hyped prospect call-ups since Bryce Harper?
Possibly.
In terms of league-wide impact.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got previous top prospect call-ups that have sparked some excitements in amongst fan bases, amongst cities, amongst regions even. But in terms of like nationwide feel, I mean, I think the Jackson Holliday has to be up there with like the Harpers, no?
Well, I mean, the beauty of our generation is that we are now looping back to seeing the next generation crack in, right? Obviously, we witnessed pretty much all of Matt Holliday's career. So being able to hear since like, I don't know, maybe he was like 14, 15 years old of like how good this kid's going to be. It's cool to see. It's super cool to see. It's like, it's easy to root for. Like even with us being, fans of teams opposing them and arguably, rivals in the division, it's like, it's cool to see. I'm a sucker for like generational torch passing in baseball, and what other organization knows that better than the Baltimore Orioles, specifically referring to our good friend's family.
I mean, there's a lot to cover there with all of what you just said. Going back to your original point about us being aware of this name for a while, did you by chance see Buster Olney's tweet?
I did. I
mean, what? Let's call it spade to spade. Buster Olney has had some misses over the years. Like he's put his foot in his mouth a time or two, but he absolutely nailed this. He tweeted back on November 14th, 2013. So a decade ago, he said, "Matt Holliday's son, future All-Star." Hasn't quite gotten there yet.
We don't know what son he's talking about. He could have been talking about the other one. Because there's another kid who's like looking just as sweet.
Ethan, I think his brother. No, well,
I think
you're right.
I think we know it's Jackson, but
still. No, yeah. It's definitely Jackson. And the only reason we know that for sure is because I guess somebody dug this tweet up and it's been making its rounds. So I'm assuming he's getting all these notifications on Twitter and he's been going back and like letting people know he kept the receipts. He's like following up to people's replies on that tweet, which is very funny. It's very much something I would do if I had a shot like that. But
I follow this account on Twitter that's like the unfortunate tweets like before, something like that, or like you know what I'm talking about, like it's like the split second of like a team putting out a tweet and then the next thing you know it's like the total opposite. But I saw that. I love that. Good for Buster Olney, you know what I mean? Like, get yours, dog. Get yours. Save those receipts. How about the videos of him like playing with Matt Holliday in Coors Field as a little guy? He's like, 4 or 5 years old.
Little kid. Speaking of video, I did have the call up video queued up, and I know everybody loves a good call up video. So in case you haven't caught that, I've got it queued up for us right here.
Jax, what's up, brother? What's up? At first, I just want to commend you for how you gone about your business down here, dude. Like, that's not easy to do. You kind of carry yourself with a chip on your shoulder, and I think these guys, they notice it, and they feed off of it. Mm-hmm. All right, so keep doing what you're doing. All right, it's just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. Just a matter of time. Has your dad been in town?
I know.
They haven't come in? Shit. All right.
My brother's right in the middle of his season.
He's in his season?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, he's probably a great resource for you, right? I'm sure that you guys are tight. Yeah. He's giving you good advice. And all those times that you've been in the locker rooms and stuff, you know how this goes. Yeah. Okay? So, for tomorrow, trying to get guys out early. Okay. But first, tonight, I want you to call your dad. I want you to talk to him, and I want you to thank him for all the times that he's allowed you to come into the clubhouse, be on his pass list, let you hit with the big boys. That's pretty special, and it plays into a lot of what you're about. The second thing I want you to tell him is that now it's time for him to ask permission to be on Jackson Holliday's pass list because you're going to the big leagues.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's
all right.
Awesome.
I'm fired up.
I appreciate it.
I'm fired up. You've been exceptional down here, brother. To be 20 years old,
I appreciate
to handle all this stuff, dude.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Call your dad.
I will.
My first takeaway from that video, and I know this sounds terrible, like this should not have been my first takeaway, but it almost sounded like his manager was about to bust out in "I'm fired up, you fired up, yeah, I'm fired up, you fired up, yeah." It's almost like he had to stop himself before he said it. But anyway, it was. I mean, that's a great call up video. I'm a sucker for anytime old dad gets looped into it in some way. Or another. And in this specific example, we're obviously talking Matt Holliday, but anytime you see these prospects getting called up and it's like, hey, call your dad, like, or call your parents or whatever, I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
There's never a dry eye after that.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I think, the funny thing is that like living in Colorado for so long, I got to watch Matt Holliday like on a regular basis. And I don't think people realize like how stoic that guy is. Like, rarely do you get much out of him, and you can tell it's passed down to Jackson because you can tell he's a little bit of the same. But the manager, like, to me, brings up an excellent point of like, we'll get into the timing of the call up, but the fact that you're getting called up this quickly, a lot of it has to do with your makeup, right? A lot of it has to do with how you handle things, how you treat your work every day. Like, all of us fans on the outside are like, what are we waiting for a lot of different prospects, right? Like, let's get him up here. Let's get him up here. Sometimes there's just maturation process that needs to happen. Sometimes there's just growing up that needs to happen. Like, these are kids. You have to be like settle into being a young man. And so I think like he brings up a good point for the way he's handled this stuff. It seems like he's checked every single box. I don't really understand the timing though. I don't get it. Why not break camp? It's before the service time deadline thing. So like, I'm a little confused with the timing. I don't really get it.
So they're not, my understanding, and I've had to confirm just to make sure I was understanding it properly. My understanding is that they were not that they were setting out like on a mission to, but they were not able to successfully navigate the whole service manipulation time in that regard. They would have had to wait, I think, it
was like 4 or 5 days, right?
4 or 5 days. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, 4 or 5 days. So it depends on what narrative you look at, because if you're going with the narrative that, hey, this team really just cares about locking up another year, then it's like, well, they didn't do that. Then it's like, okay, well, if you're a believer that they took the route that they did because they truly believed that they believed in their hearts that they wanted him to get some ABs against lefties, because apparently that was the big thing coming out of camp. And it's like, okay, well, how much experience, how many ABs did he get in that regard?
Yeah. How many lefty matchups did he really face?
It was maybe a dozen.
Like, you can't get that in like a side field while you're still in spring. You know what I mean? I just, that's what I'm saying. And like, that's the only part that bugs me, is that I don't fully understand the timing. I don't fully agree with the fact that he didn't break camp. I don't agree with Tony Kemp being DFA'd. I've been texting the group chat with Yumi and Ryan, and I'm like, why is Urias still in this picture, dude? Like, what is this about?
I don't think Tony Kemp even has a hit this year, though.
Yeah, but like the versatility defensively, I'm not saying like you got to DFA somebody. You got to clear a spot in some way. Yeah. It was just strange for them to bring him in midway through spring, sign him, have him break camp with the big league roster, and then like Jackson is just kind of like needing more ABs. The whole thing was treated a little weirdly. I don't think anyone's going to care in a month. I don't think anyone's thinking about this stuff at any other point. It was just strange. That's all. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, I'm like, if this was the route you're going to take, where you're not going to manipulate it for the service time, then let them open the season in Baltimore and just ride the buzz. Like
100%.
I know I was kind of throwing a little bit of shade, like, oh, sorry, the Sox had to ruin the debut, but like, it's kind of not having this game kind of almost all but in the books at this point. We're looking at, I mean, top 7 bases are juiced for the O's, so it's possible they're only down 2. It's possible they come out of this with a win. Regardless, it's, in terms of Jackson Holliday's contributions, it's been kind of anticlimactic. So
right,
like,
I would agree.
Not that they could have seen this happening. They're like, okay, we're going to call him up on April 10th and he's going to go 0 for 3 or 0 for whatever.
Right.
But like, either let him break camp with the club or take your year, whatever, like one or the other. The timing is just very strange. It's something, like you were saying, it's just something I don't quite understand, but I'm glad he's up. The kid deserved it. I mean, he was raking it in Norfolk. He was hitting 333, 482, 595, 2 jacks, 9 ribbies, 5 doubles, and 12 walks.
What's terrifying is that he wasn't even having the best year out of that group down there.
Can we just do like a whole episode on the Norfolk Tides?
Dude, bro.
That lineup is like, do all of them have an OPS over 900? I'm pretty sure, except maybe one guy in that lineup.
It's stupid. They're stacked. And yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
What are your thoughts on the number 7 aspect of it? I thought the story that came out of that decision was pretty cool.
Yeah. Cal's tweet, and then the little maybe 30-second segment that Bill Ripken had on MLB Central this morning. I love the perspective of it. And again, I think it has to do with like this. It has to do with families. It has to do with like baseball families. It'd be one thing if it was just another prospect. I really think it would be one thing. But the fact that I'm positive that there's been plenty of sources that Bill and Cal have been able to talk to, understanding, being like, hey, like this kid's the real deal. He's got the makeup for it. He's a respectful kid. There's probably a lot of conversations going into that. But I love what Bill was saying. He's like, like it brings my dad back into the conversation. Like it brings him almost, a part of the picture again. And for those to be attached, it's like, that's an important thing. So like, I think it's cool for Ryan and the rest of his family to like, have Cal Sr. like mentioned again. Big part of it, Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if it was
this game just got busted open, buddy. You spoke too soon.
No, like I said, I was like, okay, bases are juice. They could blow this thing open. I mean, it could go either way.
You hate to see a rally killed right before Jackson comes up, but they just took a 7-5 lead.
Was it a 3-run jack? I'm behind.
3-run jack over left center monster.
Oh,
tank job.
Well, I mean, the rally wasn't necessarily killed. It was just.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I know. Home runs kill rallies. I'm in that belief.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Okay. Yep. There it is. 3-run jack.
Daddy hack too.
Yeah.
But
Love that.
Anyway.
I mean, my point still stands. I'm again not knocking Jackson Holliday. The outcome of this game is independent of how Jackson's done. And again, it goes back to what I just said. This is. First of all, I love that it's at Fenway. I mean, if you're going to have a debut, the fact that it's at Fenway,
cool debut.
There's a lot of historical elements to this call-up story. The number 7 Fenway. There's a lot in the mix there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is hindsight's 2020. But this is a little anticlimactic. They should have broke camp with the team.
Yeah,
he gave them every reason to keep him on the roster coming out of camp. They didn't, but here we are. But yeah, to your point, I think for the number 7, I think if it was any other prospect, I
don't even think it's a question. I don't even think you're broaching the subject.
Yeah, you're not presenting that to the Ripken family at all. You're not even putting them in the situation to make that decision because that's just uncomfortable for everybody involved.
Correct.
I am curious though, who did we find out who initiated that?
I don't know.
That topic?
I'm not sure.
Was it Matt?
I'm not sure. I think it'd be cool just because like Matt wore 7 for a lot of his career. I know you wore 5 as well. But
we need to address that, by the way, whenever you're done.
What?
My misunderstanding of Cal's tweet today. But finish your thought.
Yeah, I don't know what has Jackson been like, has he been wearing 7?
Honestly,
he's like 9 years old. I haven't seen any footage of him playing.
Yeah, isn't he still at the age where like you go over to the box on the first day of practice and just pick out a jersey?
I think so.
The number
I believe you're not allowed to take leads off of first base yet, and on deck needs to be in the dugout.
And the numbers only go up to 12. You can't pick anything other than that.
And 12 is for the big kid.
Exactly.
That's tough. Yeah. I don't know, man. I like it either way. I wore 7 in high school and college, so like I'm a little biased. I love that number. So.
Oh, that's right. He was wearing 18 in Norfolk. Shout out Spencer from the live chat.
Yeah. There we go.
He said it's 18, and as he said that, I pulled up the picture of him balling out in Norfolk. So confirmed 18. But I think. That's a sweet baseball number.
It's a perfect number. It really genuinely is, especially as an infielder, just hits different. Anyway, what were we going to say about Cal's tweet?
Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. Not to keep harping on the 7 thing, but I needed to get this out there. I shouldn't be putting this out there, but full transparency. It's an integrity move.
I love it.
Cal tweeted out today. He said, "Our family is thrilled that Jackson Holliday will be wearing Dad's number 7. Excited to watch him play." And so, me with the content creator mindset, oftentimes I have to scan things. Like if something's going down that needs to get out, I don't really have time to sit there and process. So I saw Cal's tweet and I'm like, ooh. And I saw other accounts posting the tweet and I'm like, ooh, this is going to have to be something that I put out. And so I just put out the post of the tweet, having read it, where it says, "Our family's thrilled that Jackson Holliday will be wearing Dad's number 7. Excited to watch him play." The whole time I'm going, yeah, I mean, that is cool. Like, he's wearing Matt Holliday, like his dad's number 7. Like, it doesn't surprise me. He went with Dad's number. And then I start seeing pictures of Cal Sr. popping up, and I'm like, what is this about? And then I had to put 2 and 2 together. I said, oh, obviously he's talking about Cal Sr. I knew this. It's not my proudest moment, especially with as much as I love and appreciate the Ripken family. But It just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And jokes aside, that goes back to Billy's point. It brings Cal Sr. back into the mix, 100%. Which I absolutely love.
100%. And for anyone that's not like a diehard Oriole fan, I'm sure a lot of baseball fans learned that Cal Sr. rocked number 7 today. I don't think there's a ton of people that had that in the vault. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. So
let me ask you this: with the quote unquote big 3, unfortunately this was like right around wedding time for you, but I was on Ryan's show and they brought up the question of regarding Adley, Gunnar, and Jackson. In a perfect world, the O's extend all 3, but if you could only extend one of these guys, I said Gunnar. I said, I think my gut would have said, like, if you'd have asked me like last November, I think is what I said, I would have gone Adley, just because I very much value the importance of having a captain, or not necessarily an official captain, but somebody steering the ship from behind the dish.
Sure.
And Adley has proven, I mean, that you look at the splits from when he got there to where they are now, and
the winning percentage is just climbed like crazy. Yeah,
like getting swept maybe like once or twice in the Adley era. But I said I think I would probably switch my vote now to Gunnar. So my question to you is, of those 3, who would you extend if you could only extend one?
I would agree. I think Gunnar. Being partial to shortstops, I don't want to put this out in the universe. I don't want to put this out there because I don't know like how much merit it really has. But like Adley, body type and athletically, gives me vibes that he will not finish his career as a catcher. He gives me a lot of like Joe Mauer vibes. I think he moves pretty well right now as a catcher, like base paths, but you can tell like those are heavy heels. You know what I mean? Like everything he does it's kind of big movement. It's not super fluid. Don't get me wrong. He's an absolute freak, but I have that feeling like there is going to be this weird, what do we do with him? Because his body's starting to wear down a little bit. I think Gunnar's Gunnar. And I think worst case scenario, if a shortstop loses a little range, you slide him over to third. You tell him to put on another 15 pounds and let him, just tear up that right center. The ball just flies there. So I don't know. I would want Gunnar. Is that a fair answer? I don't think there's a wrong answer.
I don't know.
And as much as I think he will live up to the hype, he hasn't yet. So I can't say Jackson.
Well, going back to Spencer in the live chat, he said, if Holliday puts up numbers comparable or better than Henderson this year, would you change your answer to Holliday? For me, the question is, and they were talking about it on the broadcast tonight, they're talking about where Jackson Holliday fits into the 5-tool player description. Yeah. And the pop was the one that they're unsure of right now. Like he's got it, but to classify him as like an 80 grade, complete package 5-tool player, I don't know. I mean, he hit what, 15? He had 15 jacks in the minors last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how that translates to the big leagues, but I mean, if you're putting up close to that, I don't know if we can really, I don't know if we can expect much more than that from Jackson, at least at this stage. And I know it's like super early. He's like 12, but
yeah,
I don't know how much power we can expect from him at this stage in his career.
For any nerds out there, power grades at 60, running grades at 60, arm and fielding are at 55. Those are the lowest. Hits at 70. I don't think there's going to be any issues. I texted Ryan this a couple, I don't know, maybe a week ago. I was like, this roster gives me headaches. I see log jams all over the place. All over the place.
Dude, it's very easy as a non-Orioles fan to get kind of mixed up with all of the young dudes. Like you've got Cowser, you've got Westberg, you've got Mayo, you've got Holliday. I mean, there's certain names that you're obviously not going to get mixed up, but there are certainly log jams that exist.
Heston Kjerstad. Yeah. I mean, what the heck, dude? Like Mayo, I think slots at third. I think he plays corners, but like, are you not? I asked Ryan, I was like, are they going to move on from Mountcastle? Like, who do you move out of the picture? Like, who do you move on from? You got to create room somewhere. I guess they tanked for a couple years too long.
Yeah, too many top prospects.
Sorry,
on their hands.
Did I say that out loud?
Not a bad problem to have, I guess. Any other thoughts on the Holliday call up / debut? I mean, at the very least, they might be able to sneak out of here with a win. Again, we're recording during the game. It's bottom 7 at this point in time, but I mean, I'm just glad it's finally here. And there was like a weird calmness that came over me. Like, again, not an Orioles fan.
Yeah.
But you know, you get like anxious for these. You get like secondhand anxiety. You get like, I'm watching him take his AB, and we were sitting there. I told Meredith, I was like, I'd be crapping my pants right now. And you mentioned his dad Matt just being completely stoic, and I'm sitting here watching him answer these questions. Jackson answer these questions before the game for pregame media availability, and I'm like, this dude is talking like he's a 30-year-old vet.
Right.
It's unbelievable. So, you know, good for him. I'm glad the era has finally begun.
I do too. I'm also glad. I think, giving him, I think it's cool. 'Cause like you hate to see struggle, but like worst case scenario, maybe he goes 0 for tomorrow as well. But then they got the 6-game homestand after that. And so like maybe getting the jitters out a little before going home, before the hype helps a little bit. Maybe he can get the first knock out of the way tomorrow and really just settle in for the homestand, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, who knows?
Honestly, at this point, just go 0 for to round out the road trip and then just bust out at home. Like, it should have happened opening day, but it's fine. Like I'll let him go.
It's a lot, man. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to be excited about. And, you know, part of me is a little bit of a hater. Part of me is a little jealous, but it is what it is. You know, they got a decent formula over there.
Speaking of being a hater, I put out a tweet. I was getting like a lot of blowback but I put out a tweet today where I was like, Baltimore Orioles, call up Adley Rutschman, call up Gunnar Henderson, win 101 games, trade for Corbin Burns, call up Jackson Holliday. Red Sox, hey, we're bringing back real ketchup to Fenway. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, that's a big highlight right there. It's a big deal.
I was getting called a hater, not exactly sure why. Got nothing but love for the O's.
I think O's fans are a little sensitive to the tanking conversation. I think it's a touchy, sore subject.
I get it.
But I think the rest of baseball, I think we're all very aware of what that game plan was for 7-8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but and people are coming after me almost as if they're like questioning my Red Sox fanhood. And they're like, yeah, but you know what it took to get those names? And I'm like, what happened, like, has happened.
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately? Recently, who would you rather be a fan of?
Yeah, it's true.
Really, there are a few teams that I would put above the Orioles. Forget the Red Sox. There are a few teams that I'd put above the O's at this point, just with the buzz that they got. Like, I don't care how last year ended
like
the
new
postseason.
owner, you know what I mean? Like all of it's like coming together. The possible renovations or expansions to like the grounds around Camden Yards, like. Everything is going Orioles' way, and the window is just cracking open.
O's fans just gotta be waking up every day, going, "Who's got it better than us?"
Feeling good, feeling great.
It's unreal. All right, let's put a bow on that. As Gunnar legs out a stand-up triple. Basically a stand-up triple. Let's talk some Blake Snell debut here real quick. Made his first start for the Giants. Was not pretty. 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs. I believe he was on a little bit of a pitch limit, given, again, that this was his first outing for the club. But not exactly what you would have hoped for. I mean, he did have 5 Ks, but just a little sloppy. I mean, his first inning was very much a Blake Snell inning.
Couple walks, couple Ks.
He had 4 full counts, struck out 1 through 26 pitches. So it was very like, it was organized chaos. To put it best.
Can you imagine being an infielder behind him? I'd lose my mind. I would lose my mind. I'm gonna go and assume, because I didn't see any minor league starts. Did he just do like extended spring training workouts, or what was that?
I think so.
Couple simulated games or something.
I believe he was getting a decent amount of side work in at the
before signing, right?
HQ. Yeah. So I mean, he was. I think he was
Boris
staying
HQ.
No, I'm serious. See that?
You know what it makes me think of? Isn't there like
a facility that he has?
It makes me think of when Gru from Despicable Me like tries to go steal the moon back from whatever his space is, and he like sneaks into the place, and there's just like a giant shark tank that's swimming around. That's what I think Boris lives in. I think he just lives in like this Dr. Evil tower, dude.
That's a great point. I would love to see a picture of Scott Boris' house. Like, what is it? Just black interior
it's
everywhere?
Just all black,
black brick,
black paper towels,
bats flying around, just a mess.
Oh,
but yeah, anyway, his clients, Blake Snell, not exactly the sharpest outing, but you know, it's early for him at least. So
I wouldn't stress. I did
stress
see
about it.
Topped out at 97. I saw, and hardest hit ball was 90. Exit velo off of him. So, that's what he does. It's what he does. So, I think Giants fans, he's got to feel pretty decent. Like I'm like delightfully surprised to see what Jordan Hicks is doing. Mm-hmm. We all know that, like, Kyle Harrison has a really high ceiling and is expecting to do well, and Logan Webb's going to be fine. I know it's been a rocky start. So like there's a lot of things going well for the Giants. There's a lot of things to be positive about. But whoa, did you see that?
What happened to the O's? Hit like an 8-run home run or something?
I just got the update. Interpreter of Ohtani to be charged after federal investigation absolves Shohei of wrongdoing. So
well, that's the most predictable headline of all time.
Shohei is officially out of the woods.
Rob Manfred himself
quick
sent that notification.
Huh? Yeah. Super quick investigation there. Anywho's. Did he look good in the Giants uniform to you? Did you like it? Do you like 7 on him?
You know, that's an interesting question because
I hate single digit numbers on pitchers.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about it. But he looks all right in Giants uni. Like I didn't hate it. It wasn't like a Soto and pinstripes kind of feel. I wasn't like, oh, this guy was made for the off-white.
The Giant uniform is a fantastic uniform, and it looks good on most people. So
that's a baseball classic right there.
Yeah.
Speaking of uniforms, Skip Schumaker might be in a new uniform for the 2025 season. What a weird. I was thinking about this as I was pulling my notes together. Did we mention this at all? Like I feel like we touched on it.
Briefly touched on it, but we didn't get into detail.
Yeah, and I think more kind of developed in the recent days with reports coming out that apparently that he's just, I guess, prepared to, quote, explore new options. Owner Bruce Sherman agreed to void the 2025 team option as a, quote, show of good faith, allowing him to seek other options this winter, which
I read that it was mainly about Kim Ng. That's what I read.
Yeah. And that's what I was reading as well. Apparently the article that I was reading, he was not happy with the departure of GM Kim Ng.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to a tweet that I came across. Forgive me, I didn't get the username. I just saw the tweet, but it said, "Do the Marlins have any sort of long-term plan, or is it all just a daily vibe thing?"
Dude, it's all chicken wire and duct tape down there.
That perfectly sums up what the Marlins are doing. Like, there's no long-term vision there. You and I came to the defense of Jeter, which is hard for me to do, but we came to the defense of Jeter in terms of the vision he was trying to craft.
We got bombarded for that too.
We did. The winning mentality that I think he was trying to reinvigorate the team with, and they just didn't seem like they were very receptive to it.
No.
And the moves that they have made since letting Jeter walk simply have not made sense. And I think essentially turning Skip Schumaker loose is just another line to that narrative, because everywhere that I'm reading says that regardless, like completely independent of how the Marlins season ends up this year, they could lose out for the rest of the season. Everything that I'm reading says that he still will be a highly touted managerial option for clubs needing to fill that void for the 2025 season. I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, everyone's aware of what that is. It really, this gives me A's vibes. We're just happy to collect a check kind of thing. It was really strange for them to have a wild card appearance last year. I mean, like, first round exit or not, like, considering the hill they had to climb, like, you got to give them a lot of respect for pulling that out and working their way in, especially with that division. So for them to work their way into the wild card, then for owner to come bring somebody else in as VP of operations to give Kim Ng a boss, Kim Ng leaves, and And the only move you do in the offseason is to bring in what seems to be barely having a pulse career TA. You made no additions. You did nothing. You bring in Tim Anderson, and then you give your new manager, who, from what I can tell, has done a really good job, who won Manager of the Year, you give him no new weapons. You give him no new toys to work with. It's all really strange to me, man. And I told you the Ohtani, not to keep going back to him, but to bring in his contract, where there was a specific clause that if someone is fired, which I would go ahead and assume is talking about like manager or GM, if there's a change, Ohtani will have an opt-out. I think this is going to become more normal with a lot of contracts. Specifically to a manager. You know what I mean? Like for Skip Schumaker to say, all right, well, I'm going to move my family out of Miami to wherever now. I need to know that in this 3 or 4 year deal that you're giving me, you're not going to change plans halfway through. And I think for the average fan, like they need to understand that, like, typically organizations it's not a flip of the switch. It takes a few years to change philosophy. It takes a few years to move around scouting, change your analytics department. Like there's a lot of work that goes into changing an organization, and to just quickly pull a trigger. I'm very confused with the Marlins. They've always confused me ever since the move to Miami, or moving the name at least to Miami and the new stadium. All of it is just a big question mark, man. And again, for sure gives me A's vibes. Sacramento A's vibes.
The Sacramento A's of Las Vegas. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago where one of our bits was the whole like let's go Marlins thing, and we said it seemingly every episode. And to see how quickly things have changed, it's kind of sad, because we've talked about on here before. The Marlins are a team that have like the energy is certainly there. Yeah, the energy is there to work with. I mean, Florida residents may have a different opinion, but I feel like it's not a terrible place to have a ball club. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like there's a rich, like, I don't know, like
there's a baseball market to be tapped into down there. They're not tapping into it, but it is there.
And so to be the biggest thing is, like, forget culture, forget ballpark, forget energy. The biggest mistake that they're continuing to make year after year, it seems, is they're mismanaging very smart baseball minds.
Right.
And you've lucked into some very brilliant people being either on the diamond or in your front office, and you've basically shooed them away. You don't get to luck into that year after year. I mean, you ended up with 2, 3, 4 people, depending upon if you want to throw Jeter into the mix and maybe some others, but you're going to be sitting there empty-handed, and you're going to be out of luck. And then you're going to have no talent on the field and no brains in the front office. And then at that point, what is there left to work with? I don't know.
Me neither. It's exhausting though.
Weird spot to be in. Moving along here, Trevor Story out for the season. Look, it's tough, man. I don't think I realized how much I appreciated Trevor Story until this most recent ordeal with him. Just a freak accident, a diving play when they were in Anaheim. Test comes back. I think they went out for a second opinion. Comes back and says that he has to go undergo season-ending surgery for a fracture in his shoulder, meaning that by season's end in 2024, he will have played 145 of a possible 486 games. He is in the in the middle of a 6-year, $140 million deal with the Sox. But with that said, as I was saying, I don't think I realized how much I appreciated the player that Trevor Story is until this most recent ordeal, because I watched the interview afterward, I guess after the decision was made, and he just could not keep it. He was doing everything in his power to keep it together. And you could just tell by listening to the things he was saying and how he was saying them that this dude cares about the game. He cares about being there for his teammates as much as he can be. And he said himself that, like, he prides himself in being able to be there, to just be able to offer that availability to whatever team he's with, whether it be, the Rockies, the Red Sox, whoever's employing him. He wants to make sure that he's given everything he can. And I think he really took a step forward this offseason with that infielders camp that he ran. And I really felt like, and he even made my list of the list I've mentioned a few times on the pod, the players I believe in for 2024. And it's just kind of a hodgepodge list of names. And he was on that list because I'm like, you know what? He's had some bad breaks. Yeah. But I feel like this is going to be a big year for him. And he started off, he had a decent start, all things considered. And I think he was really going to heat up. But just as I mentioned, the video was what really just did it in for me. And I actually, for those who haven't caught it yet, I have it queued up for us here.
Missing last season, you feel that, you miss your teammates, you miss playing the game. You just know what it takes, but I'll be all right.
So if you watch it, you can really see that he's fighting back the tears. But even if you just listen, you can just tell the pain that's behind his voice, and it just sucks, man. There just seems to be guys around the league that just can't seem to shake this. And I don't know why, but I feel differently about this particular case than I do somebody like Chris Sale. And not that I have any ill will against Chris Sale, but for some reason they're very similar in terms of just not being able to shake freak injuries and stuff like that. But for some reason with Trevor Story, I just feel differently about it. And I don't know why. But he, like I said, man, he's broken up about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between him and if you're going to attach a name as far as like missed games go, you can't sit here and say that, he's anything like an Anthony Rendon. Like you can just tell he cares more. Just to prove to you guys that there is longevity and durability typically outside of these freak injuries. When he first came in full time in 2017, he played 145 games. Next year, 157. 145 again in 2019. 2020 COVID year, 60 games. He played 59. And then his last year in Colorado, 142. And as you mentioned before, just in a Sox uniform, it's only been 145 games in 3 years. It sucks for sure. And like I feel bad for you guys, man. Like it's, I never want, opposing injuries or anything, and it's, the dude rakes. He rakes. And he is as much as of a bad rap that he gets for his defense. I watched him a lot when he was a Rocky, and that dude flashes leather. He can show it off. But it is weird. There's something weird going on, man, between, Story and Pivetta and who we'll get into later, and Giolito. That's over $50 million of payroll that are done for the year. That's 26% of your payroll, buddy. It's hard to do anything with that. You know, like it's hard for any organization to be missing a quarter of their, you can't say team, but a quarter of their structure. You know what I mean? A quarter of their foundation. These are guys that you rely on. These are, you know, a walking 4 or 5 WAR per year type guys that you know, Pivetta maybe not quite yet, but the other two for sure. So it's weird. There's some weirdness going on, some bad luck for sure.
I think John Henry was all but banking on these types of things happening so that he would be able to justify his lack of activity, lack of spending in the off season. Because if you don't have these pieces, if you don't have a Nick Pivetta if you're out Nick Pivetta for an extended period of time, if you're out Story for the remainder of the year and some other pieces maybe fall by the wayside, then you're going, well, what good would reinforcements have done if you're John Henry? So I think behind closed doors, he might be pleased. Not that he's wishing injury on people, but he's going, okay, like this is working out from a financial point of view because it's going to show that I didn't necessarily need to spend the money because these things were bound to happen anyway. So why would I have needed to fork over money for pieces that wouldn't have mattered in the long run? But speaking of forking over money, he did keep sticking with the Red Sox here. The Red Sox did extend Ceddanne Rafaela 8-year, $50 million deal that will buy out a couple years of free agency. He is their number 4 prospect. He's been off to a pretty good start. He's saved a couple games on the defensive side of things. He has the ability to man an outfield. He can also man the 6-hole shortstop. So, you know, it's not the worst signing the team's ever made. I think there's some good potential here. He's very athletic and can provide some versatility. And I think that versatility might even be coming into play already because there's talks of possibly filling the Trevor Story void with Ceddanne Rafaela for the time being, until they can maybe get some other options worked out or get some other guys some more reps.
You said it's Ceddanne, right?
Ceddanne Rafaela, yeah.
All right. I haven't heard it out loud yet, so cool. It is very backloaded, by the way, if you saw that. The contract is super backloaded. You know, it really grows. I think it's like $1 million next year, grows to like 3, then 5, then 7. And then, you know, by his last year, he's going to be 30 years old in 2031. And he's only making 13 mil. So like, I think it's a really smart team friendly deal. We know that this is it's already the new trend. It's a little bit of a lottery ticket, but in reality, like it's not that bad. Like you don't feel that bad. It gives you plenty of, even the signing bonus is being spaced out over each year. So it's like nothing's really hitting too hard. Gives you plenty of flexibility. And then like if he does pan out and if he does crack into his prime for, you know, the last 3-4 years of this deal, like heck yeah. At, you know, 10, 13 a year, who cares? I would take it.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to be a pessimist here. I see the vision. There's certainly a foundation being laid here with certain extensions. I think Costas is next. Hopefully they can get something worked out with him. You've already got Devers. You've got Rafaela. You've got Bayo. You've got some dudes there that can create a not half bad core if things pan out the way we're expecting them to. But I just wish that as the Boston Red Sox, who are a major market team, we're not treating the last few years as if they're a small to mid market team. Like I don't think these years needed to be wasted.
Yeah.
But these extensions that are popping up, I'm not gonna hate on them. I just wish that we would have utilized these last couple years a little bit better.
You only really need a couple pieces to fill in the cracks. You know what I mean?
Saying.
Like if you move everybody down a slot in the order after getting a big bat, move everybody down in the rotation a slot after getting a big arm, like you can see how it can change things. Look at Soto. I mean, like Soto's a different story, but like look at Soto in a Yankee lineup and it makes you feel a lot better. So it's there for the taking if they want to go get it. It's just, and I can see why you're frustrated because it is a weird help me, I'm poor. Enter that GIF.
Exactly.
Situation. Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody I'm pretty excited about with the Sox though, as we switch gears here into some guys that have been kind of going off lately. At the top of my list here, in no particular order, Tyler O'Neill, entering Wednesday night, or entering Wednesday altogether, was leading the AL with home runs. I think he was actually tied. He was tied with Trout. I think Trout has 6 as well. But he was leading the AL in home runs, on base, slug, OPS, and a little nugget here for those who maybe didn't know. He actually, I can't remember who put this out, but I saw a post that said he's had opening day home runs. As we know, the opening day home run king. Not only did he hit a home run on like the official opening day this season, he hit opening day home runs in Anaheim and Boston as well, like for those respective opening days.
Oh, really?
Boston's was like super late, as we very well know. Like this is the first series at home against Baltimore, but opening day home runs this year in Seattle, Anaheim, and Boston. So that was pretty cool. Shota Imanaga has yet to give up a run this season. 2 starts, 10 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, no walks, and 12 Ks. So that acquisition is looking very good for the Cubbies. So love that move. I was locked in. Very much so. I was locked in for his first start. I believe it was against the Rockies in Wrigley.
And that was the sole spring training game I went to. Was one of his starts.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think you got to take advantage of I don't even know. I haven't paid attention at all of like what the weather's been like in Chicago, but like if you can get off as a pitcher, get off to a hot start while it's cold, while it's frigid, these hitters aren't super warmed up yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like just get it going. Just get the ball rolling quickly. He looks good, man. It's impressive.
To that point, it was gross on opening day at Wrigley. So
yeah,
he's taking full advantage. A guy that I'm not kidding, dude. I'm really excited with this particular individual start. Spencer Turnbull, back-to-back scoreless outings. Yeah. He's tallied 11 innings thus far, 13 Ks, and only 1 walk for the Phils. So talking about a team that I personally have in the World Series this year, if he can eat some innings, not just eat innings, but if he can provide some value out of that spot in the rotation.
Yeah.
Oof. Look out. I think that is that's a bonus that club was not necessarily expecting much out of. So good for Spencer Turnbull. The aforementioned Mike Trout, currently tied, again, entering Wednesday, currently tied with the MLB lead with 6 homers and ranks 4th with an OPS of 1150. Continuing the narrative of this being a redemption season for Mike Trout, man.
I love that.
I'm telling you, I feel good. It just need him to stay healthy.
I like it. I need him. Maybe the dream scenario is if he got traded at some point.
I don't know. At this point, but at this point, it almost kind of just feels weird. Like he's clearly bought into it. He's he's accepted his role into this dumpster fire of an organization. Like he signed here long term. I think he knew what he was getting involved in to a degree. I think he was maybe misled a little bit, but you have to have some awareness in terms of what you're getting, what you're signing up for. But at this point, I don't care where he plays. I just want to see him stay healthy, man. The thing that gets to me though, I saw a lot of accounts. I've seen a lot of accounts recently talking about now that he's going off, like, is Mike Trout still the best player in baseball? Or like, is Mike Trout getting back to being the best player in baseball? Like, okay. So Shohei leaves town and now we're going to start this narrative back up again. It just seemed a little hypocritical. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but I saw it out there. And I'm going, why all of a sudden are we bringing this back up?
It is what it is. Just let my man cook in silence. That's his dream scenario. Let me just cook in silence. Yeah. No eyes out there.
Crazy. Garrett Crochet. Another guy who's off to a very strong start. 18 innings pitched over 3 starts, 21 Ks. Again, to reiterate, all of these performances are entering Wednesday the 10th, so things may change. But entering Wednesday, Garrett Crochet, 18 innings over 3 starts, 21 Ks, which is second in baseball, and an ERA of 2 flat. So
get that little. Speaking of flat, that leg kick. Yeah. A little weird leg kick he's got rocking.
It's different, man.
Super short up in here.
It's different.
I like it. He was the one that, did he pitch in the College World Series and then get a chance?
You're talking about for Tennessee.
It was a few years ago. Oh no, who was? Oh.
Yeah, Crochet went to Tennessee. Yeah, he was called up in September by the White Sox.
Same year, right?
Became the first MLB player in 6 years to reach the big leagues in the same year in which he was drafted. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm not crazy.
I knew he went to Tennessee, but I couldn't remember if it was that same fall.
I'm not crazy.
That's funny.
Okay,
good recall there, my friend.
Thank you. It's about time.
He looks like he's
settling in. I love you got nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose if you're that organization. Try him out as a starter, and it looks like it's paying off. So,
speaking of nothing to lose, Shea Langoliers of the Sacramento A's of Las Vegas. You may as well just go out there and take daddy hacks, man. Boost your trade stock, whatever it is that you're trying to boost. Pad those stats, boost those numbers. He did that Tuesday night. 3 bombs against the Rangers. Look, I gotta shine a light on A's performances when they come along, because Venture says probably not gonna be too many of them, but want to give a tip of the old ball cap to Shea Langoliers. MJ Melendez. I saw a post that said as of Tuesday, MJ Melendez has a career WAR of 0.7. His first 277 career games, he accumulated a WAR of 0.2. His last 9 games, 0.5.
That's a tough look, because I kind of like him. I kind of like his bat.
You talked him up big like the last year or two. Like
I see potential in his bat. I think it's going to come at some point. I don't know if it's like league to league type thing, but I don't know, man.
Provide you a little defensive versatility.
Something about it. I'm a fan.
So, I mean, entering Tuesday, his previous 9 games had more than doubled his career WAR. So, good for you, my friend. Yordan Alvarez, his last 24 ABs, he's got 14 hits, 4 bombs, and 11 ribbies. I'll say it again. He's a man amongst boys.
He really is. He really genuinely is.
Literally, figuratively, metaphorically, figuratively, all of the types.
He gives me big Poppy vibes. He always has, and I would venture to say he might be a better hitter. I don't know if he'll match the power numbers, but like how long it took for Poppy to start peppering that left field wall. You saw it late in his career. You see it right now with Yordan. Like Yordan,
Yeah.
he goes
With
the other way.
conviction, man.
Oh,
With conviction.
Yeah. Ball's driven. I don't even know, how old do you think he is? Give me a guess.
Jordan? I'm going to say 28.
26.
26. Wow.
I told you, he gives me Poppy vibes, dude. Like he's a great hitter. He's not just like a swing and miss power guy. Like the guy is a very, very good hitter. I don't know.
I love it, man.
We'll see it in the end.
Especially love having him on my fantasy team. Tyler Anderson, back-to-back. Now, this is, I feel like, a name that's been floating under the radar a little bit. Back-to-back 7-inning outings. He allowed 4 hits in each, but he has not given up a run yet and has 8 combined Ks. So, you got some arms popping up on these teams that, I won't say popping up, but possibly re-emerging for some of these teams that really don't have much to look forward to this particular season. But you love having a good story for each club, and Tyler Anderson is certainly one of them.
Yeah.
Another Tyler that's been lights out, Tyler Glasnow. 7 innings pitched his last outing against the Twins, 14 Ks.
When only pitcher with there's not much better to watch.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's just arms and elbows, and then his release point is just in front of your nose.
When you hear about guys having unhittable stuff, like think Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah.
Like his health, his availability is one thing. When he is on the mound and he is locked in, truly unhittable stuff. It's disgusting. He was the only pitcher, referencing his most recent start, the only pitcher with 14 plus Ks on fewer than 90 pitches in a game since pitches were first tracked in 88 or since 88.
That's crazy. Nowadays, that's even crazier. That's efficient right there, man.
He's looking good to start.
Just saying, like,
what are you gonna say?
Yamamoto doesn't need to be an ace. Buehler coming back, he doesn't need to be an ace. When you have Glasnow that can do this, like, it takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the rotation.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous. Like, you don't want guys like Yamamoto and company settling in, getting comfortable, thinking that, like, all right, Glasnow is going to lead the staff, because I hate to say it, it's like a Trevor Story, a Chris Sale kind of situation. You just you wouldn't wish it. You don't want it. I'm sure there's Padres and Giants fans out there that would disagree, but generally speaking, baseball fans don't want to see Tyler Glasnow on the shelf. So I think you're absolutely right, though. Like, if he can keep this up, he's off to a great start. 3-0, 2.25 ERA, 29 Ks across 4 starts. Like, if you can put up Tyler Glasnow type numbers for a stretch of time this season, they're going to be in much better shape. They're already in great shape, leading the division. But if he can keep this up, they're in a good spot. You got anything else? We got weekend series to watch, and then we gotta close the book.
Let's do it. You want to go first?
You got it. Who do you got?
Give me the Battle of PA. Give me the Pirates at Phillies. We all know what the Jolly Roger's been looking like lately. It's exciting stuff. Phillies, I don't think have really like quite turned it on yet, especially offensively. I don't think we've seen what we're used to quite yet. It's still early. It's all good though. Game 1 starts tomorrow. It's a 4-game set. It's at 6:40 Eastern. You got Jared Jones going against Ranger Suarez. Game 2 Friday night, also 6:40 Eastern. You got Bailey Falter, Christopher Sanchez. Game 3, 3:05 Eastern on Saturday. It's Marco Gonzalez trying to find a new start over in Pittsburgh, and then as we mentioned before, a hot Spencer Turnbull. And then Game 4 is the one to watch if you got time for it on Sunday. It's 1:35 Eastern. It's the big boys. Mitch Keller going against Zach Wheeler. I like it.
I like it a lot. That's a good one. Just hope the Pirates can keep it up. For me, I got the Rangers at the Rangers in Houston. First game is Friday, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. You got Dane Dunning going up against JP France. Saturday, you've got Andrew Heaney versus Ronel Blanco, who had an exceptional follow-up to his no-hitter. Took a no-hitter into the fifth. In that
5 2/3, I think it was. Yeah,
fifth or sixth.
I need Heaney to figure it out for my squad. Fantasy squad needs some help.
Yeah, figure it out. That's at 4:05 on Saturday, and then Sunday we've got a 2:10 p.m. Eastern start. You got Nathan Eovaldi going up against Christian Javier. And that is a 3-game set, so that'll be wrapping up Sunday, but that should be a good one. Of note, though, it's not necessarily a series that you need to feel obligated to tune into, but Jackson Holliday will be making his Camden Yards debut on Friday against the Brewers. So if you're into that, be sure to check that out. I think we're talking about today, it is Apple TV, so
yeah.
Baseball is a funny game. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. You'd love to have that. Home cooking type of broadcast, but alas, Apple TV. So we're probably gonna get a bunch of folks that probably haven't watched the Orioles in a couple years talk about Jackson Holliday making his Camden Yards debut. So that'll be fun.
Good for Apple TV though, because they're about to gain like 1.5 million users. I don't think there's anyone in Baltimore that's not going to watch.
Look, I'm not going to say Apple TV is involved in some sort of conspiracy here with the timing of the call.
I think that manager got a cut.
But I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's so good.
Closing the book here real quick, and we'll get out of here. The Cubs meltdown versus the Padres. My goodness. You got to be better, Cubbies. Come on. I read that 9 unanswered. I read that their win probability was at 99%.
Dude.
Entering the bottom of the 6th. Padres score 7. Fernando with a 2-run jack in the 8th, which was pimped. By the way,
I saw a tweet that I can't fully disagree because I have witnessed it. A Tatis bomb in Petco hits very different.
I get that sense. I'm glad you said that because I watched that video and I don't even remember what I said, but I said something out loud and I was like, wow.
It hits different. There's just something that you can tell when you're there. You can't wait to see what he does the instant you see that it's gone. It's a show, man. It's cool.
Need to get out there for that. I gotta witness that. I might have to just book a whole series just in case.
I would recommend if you get a day game and a night game. Yeah, that would be because Such a beautiful ballpark.
Need to make it happen. More arm injuries. You alluded to it earlier. Nick Pivetta, believe, was the flexor tendon strain, as was Josiah Gray with the flexor tendon strain. Framber Valdez as well, elbow inflammation. Admittedly, I feel like it's probably somewhat normal in terms of the number of arms that are going down comparatively. But I just feel like the baseball world is watching a lot more closely now. And so I know I am, at least, like I'm more aware, making more note of the number of guys that are going down, especially with all the commotion.
I think it's the quality of names. I think that as well. I saw something on Twitter that was like, I don't remember who, but they had like a graph up of like elbow or shoulder injury IL stints on April 10th. Like it was specific to at this point in the season. And going back to 2018, like this is kind of on par. We're pretty much pacing what we normally pace for the last 4 or 5 years. I think it's just the names. These are big names, big names. And we're missing big names. When you talk about missing DeGrom, Verlander, Scherzer, Kershaw, we have names that aren't pitching right now. These names show up even more and even brighter. So sucks. I'm tired of it. Cole, another one. Just we have like huge names, Cy Young names that it's just weird.
Oh, it's a huge list. We haven't even we didn't even get to all of them, but it's a huge list. But it's how the cookie crumbles. And then the last item I had was the second to last item I had. Just wanted to throw in there. Couldn't let the episode pass without mentioning that Fanatic, more teams have since come out that they're missing their uniforms from Fanatics. So I think the latest one we heard was the Giants are delayed on their City Connects, which I did see a lot of Giants fans say, like, honestly, it's not the worst thing to happen. Like, we're kind of okay without those for a while. So to which I would say, I may have to agree with you on that one, but
not the best.
Still the issue remains that Fanatics, the fact that the contract has not been terminated, the relationship has not been severed yet. It's beyond me. But and then last item, did you by chance see the Rowdy Tellez stepping in for David Bednar post game?
Big fan.
What are your thoughts?
Big fan. Changed my perspective a little bit on Rowdy. I've been wondering why he continues to get the opportunities he does, but he seems like a good clubhouse guy. I like that. And there's no reason for Pittsburgh fans to be acting that way. Have some patience, give him some time. I understand he was lights out the last couple years, but like he'll be fine. He'll be okay.
Tell you what, man, Pirates fans, they witness a couple back-to-back hot starts for these Pittsburgh Pirates, and they get a little too big for their britches. They start feeling themselves a little bit too much. It's like, chill out, slow down, relax.
Remember who you are. You guys
are in
are
first place.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're the Pirates.
But if anything, that's kind of like a silver lining thing. Like on the Yankee conversation, like everyone's feeling like, hey, we're doing pretty good. All things considering, like Judge is he's non-existent right now, and we're still winning games. Like it feels good. The Pirates should have like a similar. Hey, we don't even have like our all-star closer on right now, and we're still getting dubs. Like, we're good. He'll figure it out. He'll be fine. I don't understand the booing. I don't like it. And that was weird. One of those blown saves was like, a Cabrian Hayes throwaway, I think, right? It was someone that like threw it away and it went into the dugout. So the guy from second scored, and it was a walk-off the other day. So like, I understand, he's not looking great, but have some dang patience, man. Especially with pitchers right now. let them warm up.
Let them warm up. Let's keep this season rolling. Hopefully those of you listening aren't overreacting too much to what's been going down the last couple of weeks, but still got a lot of baseball left. Some pretty slow starts across the league, players and teams alike, but also some very promising starts for some guys that I think, one, we expected, but two, there's some names that we got into tonight and some that we didn't even mention yet that are off to some hot starts. So latch onto those feel good stories. And as always, we wish you and your team the best of luck as we continue to get this season going. Still early, but I think that'll about do it for episode 423, unless you got anything else, my friend.
Aaron Boone with his 34th ejection. So we're just got to keep that train rolling. You know what I mean? I'm surprised we made it this far into the season for the first one.
Let's keep that mental tally rolling.
Yeah. Oh, God bless you guys. You're awesome. Don't go chasing curveballs.
Love you all. And as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.